I'm Safia Asmani, and you're watching another episode of the Fulbright Women Podcast Season 1, where we bring to you the brightest women of Pakistan and share some of the amazing work that they're doing in their fields. Today, we have Bushra Rahim with us. Bushra is a Fulbright alumna who went for her PhD to the State University of New York in Albany, and she holds a PhD in Education Administration and Policy. She currently works as a Deputy Director with the government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakistan, in the Ministry of Excise, Taxation, and Narcotics Control. Today, Bushra wants to speak with us about the issue of child abuse in Pakistan, what is she doing about that, and what are the challenges that she has to face. Let's speak with Bushra Rahim. Hello, Dr. Bushra. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, nice to meet you. How are you doing, Safia?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking out time for this conversation. I am very excited about this conversation ahead. Dr. Bushra, how severe is the issue of child abuse in Pakistan?
According to the World Health Organization's report, 1 billion children were victims of physical, sexual, or psychological abuse in 2019, and they were in the age of 2 to 17. And in the US, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before they turn 18. So Pakistan is no exception in this regard. According to Cruel Numbers 2020, a report by Sahil, 8 children were abused daily in 2020. And you know, the unreported cases are much higher because Sahil's report is a compilation of data from national and regional newspapers. The cases are on the rise due to unemployment, frustration in youth, lack of awareness in children, and lack of awareness in youth about the penal regime. These cases, child protection cases, remain unreported or underreported due to general distrust in the legal and justice system and the stigma attached to the profiling of such cases. And the other reasons for underreporting of cases of child abuse are non-cooperative attitude of police, a weak investigation system, sexual abuse is a social taboo, ignorance, illiteracy, and widespread poverty. So these are some of the reasons that the reporting is not done to that level that should happen.
You basically, there was a lot that you talked about here. I kind of want to break down into each segment. Firstly, let's talk about the causes that you said, the reasons for why a lot of child abuse happens, sexual abuse or any other kind of abuse happens. One of the things that you said was unemployment, right? Could you help us understand the relationship of unemployment and child abuse in Pakistan?
As you know, like in Pakistan, the youth population is like 60% or more than that, right? And they are full of energies and they are full of dreams and passion, right? And they want to do something and they want to apply their knowledge and skills and they want to work but when they don't get jobs, they get frustrated. And so when they get frustrated, so they either use drugs or they either become violent, physically violent or like sexually violent. And so then such kind of, so this is one of the elements that is a factor of abuse, physical abuse or sexual abuse, because youth if they are unemployed. So yes, so this is that's how, like, if our youth, their energies, if you don't employ their energies properly, so that's how their energies are directed in other directions, not in positive directions, but in negative direction.
I
Yeah.
understand. There's also this, one can imagine the sense of hopelessness, not just among the youth, but general population as well in the country, right? So one can also correlate the sense of hopelessness and the sense of powerlessness, and then connect it to the issue, because I would imagine there's this element of power dynamics, right? That you feel that you're more powerful than the victim, and you
Yeah.
want to have some kind of control on the victim. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, you are very right, because like I mentioned, this is one of the issue. The unemployment is one of the issue, but another issue is that this the macho-ness, or the when we grow our boys, like that you are men and you are machos and you can do anything and you can get away with anything that you would do. So this thing, I think, then gives more power and more autonomy to our youth. And you would have heard about cases like Noor Mukaddam and all these things, other cases that have recently happened. And you know what we as a society do is that we just label such kind of people. We say that they are psychopaths, or we just say that they are not one of us. This is not what the society, how you would represent your society. But you know, by labeling such person with these remarks or statements, I think we are doing injustice to such people. You know, like, such people, they are criminals, they are criminal minded, they are violent, and they have a history of violence or neglect and disruptions in their negative disruptions in their life. And one of the factor can be that these children or adults are themselves, they were abused when they were young. So what they do is they perpetrate the same thing. They become they have low self-esteem, and they have distrust of adults, and they such people are going through trauma, and they have very negative feelings. So that's how they then use their energies in this direction, that they then abuse women or children or whoever, because their own history is like full of such trauma or abuse. So yes, I agree with
Mhm.
you.
Uh, these are really interesting points. You talked about toxic masculinity here, right? And you also, we hear about these incels that are there online, just because some men face rejection, they don't know how to, cope with that rejection. So they turn that rejection into, hatred of the other gender or of, the other people. And you also talked about the sense of otherness, we other these people. I remember you mentioned Nur Mukaddam's case. There are a lot of people
Mhm.
around me on their social media, their first response to Nur Mukaddam's case was, oh, I'm shocked. And I was asking them, why are you shocked? It is not the first case of its kind that has happened in our country. So we shouldn't be shocked. If we are shocked, that shows we are ignorant about the realities of our society, right? But then I kind of want to ask you one really interesting question, because I want you to answer this. A lot of men and a lot of people, when we bring up toxic masculinity, when we bring up abuse, and when we bring up rape of women, they retort to, oh, but women also rape men. What would you say to those people?
Like I said, that these people, they are criminal minded and they are sick, and they don't have empathy toward women or children or such communities that need to be cared and loved. I think that I would say that parents have a very important role when they are raising their children. They should not differentiate. First of all, they should not differentiate between their sons and daughters. They should not raise them differently. They should raise them like in the same manner. And if we do an unequal treatment with our children. So, like there's a difference between how our daughters are raised and how our sons are raised. So sons, they are of the opinion that they can do anything and they can get away with that. And on the other hand, the our daughters or girls, they are of the opinion that we have to protect ourselves. And if something bad happens to us, so it is because of us. It is because of how we dress up. It is because of how we are communicating with other people, or it is because there would be something because I'm attracting someone or things like that. So I think this starts very much from the childhood. So the role of parents is very important in raising their children very well. And then, of course, the role of society is very important. At the next stage, the role of investigation agencies, police, or our justice system, it is very important. Like the conviction rate in Pakistan is less than 3%. And so, that's why people, I think they are not because they know that the conviction rate is so low, so they are not afraid of the consequences of their acts. So they know that they'll get away with whatever they'll do with women or children or transgender or any other communities. So I think it is very important. We all have to play our role. Social media has a very important role to play. Religious seminaries has an important role to play. So we all have to act together, and we should not just blame those abusers, and we should not just profile them as a single case only. No, I don't think that they are a single case or they are not one of us. They are being raised in this society, and they are being raised by parents. And it is because of, I would say that it is because of the neglect of the parents and the community surrounded by that child that is, I think, making that child an abuser or yeah.
Yeah, no, the lack of, like you said, the lack of sense of accountability and justice, that, and this sense of, we can do anything and just get away with it without being held accountable, is also a root cause of a lot of problems in our, country. And to those people who, retort to it that it's not just a gender issue, yes, it's a human crisis, but then when we look at the data, we find more men being in the position of abusers than women. So the data shows, an inclination towards the abusers of a certain gender, right? I kind of want to take a step back and talk about your journey. What made you feel like that you want to devote yourself to this cause?
So the thing is that first of all, when I would step back and I'll go to the period when I was on Fulbright scholarship in the US in 2013-14. When I was there, I had the opportunity of in-depth studying the socioeconomic and education statistics of Pakistan. I was aghast to read the statistics and the comparative unsatisfactory performance of Pakistan in South Asia and other developing countries. So I started thinking about how I can contribute to mitigate some of the issues that our people, especially women and girls, are facing. So I co-founded this NGO, which is called a Development Agent for Change. That works in 5 major areas: child protection, peace, inclusive education, poverty alleviation, and women rights. So this was one of the reasons that we started this NGO. Why we are focusing on child protection is that when we co-founded this organization, so some of our female members, they had faced harassment, and we were reading about the gruesome stories of child sexual abuse and brutal killings of children. So this subject, tackling child abuse, was very close to my heart. Despite being prevalent in a society, sensitization about sexual violence, remain a taboo in Pakistan, particularly in the ultra-conservative society of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and ex-FATA, which is called NMD's newly merged districts. So what we believe in is that awareness is the key to effective prevention, and we believe that we can save thousands of children to whom we are reaching out in schools and madrasas, and if we are training the police. So I think we are saving many children through these awareness campaigns. So that's how, and that's why we feel so attached to this topic. And so nowadays we are, for the last not nowadays, but for the last few years, we are creating awareness sessions in schools and religious seminaries, and we are training police departments, and we'll talk about this later, that what we are doing in the schools and the police.
No, you're right about the awareness, raising awareness among people, about the issue. What can you educate me a little bit more about? There's one way that the masses are being educated, being aware, the way awareness is being created through news, that, all these issues are very much a part of our society. As an expert, what are the tools that you use to create and raise awareness among the people?
In case of schools, what we do is that, children in our government schools, they are very shy and reserved. So they would not open up. And the second thing is that this topic is very sensitive. So even when we, and that if you are going to schools to create awareness, you need permission from the government. So even getting permission from the government is very challenging. And when once you get the permission and you go inside the school, convincing the principals and teachers, it was very challenging for us. But when they heard about the topic and how we are going to present it to the children and to the teachers, so they were very happy, and they said that yes, this is an important subject. And would you believe, now we are getting requests from teachers from all over Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the district administration, the different tiers of administration, and they are so happy about this awareness campaign, that we are getting requests from them that please conduct a awareness session in our schools. So in the schools, what we do is that we just don't give them lecture and come back. What we do is that, number one, we create an environment so that children, they feel connected with us. And like I mentioned that most of our team members, they were harassed in their lives. So they knew that how will they connect with these children and how they will make them reveal about the incidents that the children went through, right? So this is one of the factor that is helping us connect with the children and let them reveal the stories that they have to share. The second thing that we do in the schools is that we let them draw on the charts, because some of the children would not be able to open up, so we let them draw on chart. With other children, we ask them to do role plays. So we give them a scenario, or we just give them some time and to think about a scenario and to do a role play. And so through these different activities, they are getting confidence to open up and share their experiences. They are also now, they have made their own slogans for this, and now they are pledging, and they are of the opinion that such sessions were very important. And we would think that these incidents happened to us because there was something wrong with me. Again, the same psyche wherever we went. Like, Safia, we went to more than hundreds of schools, and we created awareness amongst more than 100,000 children. And the same story was being repeated, that every girl especially would say that I think that there was some fault in me, and then that child was feeling guilty, and she would have relationship problems. So, and would you believe that even usually we think that girls are being raped and girls are being abused, but even in the boys' schools, we heard incidents. And like, let me share one of the story that one of the male child in the school said that there was a dagger in his school bag. And when the master trainer asked him that why you are carrying a dagger with you, and so then he narrated the story that there is a boy next to my school, and which is also a government school, and which was for senior boys, and he is asking for my company, and he harasses me, and I can't share this with my parents. So that's how, like, I thought of this mechanism to protect myself. So then what we did was is that we talked to the principal, and then that situation was taken care of. So in schools, this is the strategy that we use. With the same thing is being used in religious seminaries. And with the police, what we do is that we are teaching them a forensic mode of investigation, like geofencing, DNA, mobile tracking, and all these things. And police department, like, it was difficult to get permission from police department, but when we get feedback after these training sessions, the DPO, the district, the senior police officers, they say that these workshops are very, very essential, and they are requesting us to train all of their police personnel. So yes, the feedback is quite awesome. And so these are some of the strategies that we are using in the schools and the police systems.
You raised some really interesting points there, and I kind of want to, talk about the awareness bit a little more, uh, because you're not just raising awareness. You talked about some processes that would be considered, healing processes, some kind of mental therapy that is happening there for the kids, because rightfully said, a lot of these kids and teenagers are storing so much trauma because of all the experiences they've had. Talk about the healing process. Awareness we've talked about, right? How important is it for the kids, for these teenagers to heal from their past traumas, to be able to, become healthy part of the society?
So what we do for healing is that we are doing focus group discussions with these children, and I narrated just one of the stories, and that we talk to the uh, police, we talk to the principals, we talk to their parents, and that's how we resolve such kind of issue. Another story that I would like to share it with you was of a group of girls. They, when they would leave the school, so they told our master trainer that when we leave our school, there's a guy standing next to the school, and so he's harassing us, and he's asking us to go with him and to give him their mobile number and all this. So when the master trainers talked to us, so we said that to the master trainers that you can accompany these girls when they are off from the school, and if there is such an incident, so at once call the police. And this is what they did, and the police came, and like that guy was like, you will never see that guy again in that school, because he was put behind the bar. So this is one of the story that just came into my mind, that we are actually taking actions, like if the children, so this is also one of the healing process, that and the children feel that they are not just creating an awareness session and they just leave us. Like I mentioned that we have been through this process, and till date, like we are going through this trauma, so we are feeling the pain for these children. So we have not limited ourselves to just giving them awareness sessions and leave them there and give them police numbers and connect them with the police and all this. So we what we do is we arrange focus group discussions, we talk to them, and we talk to their parents, and we try to reconnect with them frequently. Another incident that was reported and through our help desk was that we have also created, by the way, we have created a help desk, and on which these children and parent and the administration staff, they can report to us that such incidents are happening here and there. These are some of the steps that we are taking to make them realize that it is not just a conversation that we are having with you. It is all these practical steps that we are taking to make you feel secure. Yeah.
Yes, because to have this sense and understanding that it is not just some kind of alien information that's been thrown at you, but you also have a network of people to lean back on and have a support system, that is also a very empowering concept. So I completely understand that. And thank you so much, Dr. Bushra, for doing that. I have another question. We've talked about raising awareness. We've talked about, equipping them with the right kind of tools, right kind of support system, a network of people they can rely on, all of that. There's also a debate about, how much does the concept of self-defense, teaching young boys and young girls, some techniques of self-defense, how much does that have space in these kind of trainings and awareness campaigns? Should there be space for that as well?
Yes, why not? Yes.
Sorry, I just want to add one part to it. Sometimes there's also this element of, that yes, we need to fix a society, but then teaching the kids self-defense techniques is somehow putting the onus of the abuse on them, that you didn't know how to defend yourself, that's why this thing happened. Also talk about that then.
Okay, so You have raised a very good question. So the thing is that, yes, of course, self-defense is very important. Uh, but of course, not every child is privileged to learn these techniques or is not aware of such techniques, right? So self-defense is important, but for the children who don't have access to such techniques, I think if that child is aware about the do's and the don'ts and his or her own boundaries and the boundaries of another person, so I think even that will help a child to defend himself or herself. So I don't think, yes, it is important that the child should learn self-defense techniques, but if he or she does not know about these techniques, so I think self-awareness is an important step that we are taking right now, because like I said, your home is the place where most of such cases and are taking place, and you would know that like 80 to 85% cases happen in your family, and these are being, such cases are being done by your relatives, your family members, and your friends. So it is important to, number one, that you are aware of your boundaries and the boundaries of another person. Second, it is important that you should raise your voice and you should not keep silent, and you should talk to your parents, or you should know how to defend yourself, or you should know which agencies or which organizations or which people you should contact to in case of such incidents. So yes, both are important.
We have talked about, two stakeholders in this issue at length: the kids, the
Mhm,
police, and even
mhm,
about the society. We have spoken about them. And you
mhm,
briefly mentioned about the parents. That's where I want to
mhm,
come a little more, I want to talk a little more about, because one of the anecdotes that you shared about this kid who was carrying a dagger in his back, one of the things that sticks to me that he said to the master trainer is that he cannot talk about this to his parents, right? So do these trainings involve sessions with the parents where, because this is a huge responsibility on the shoulders of the parents to make their kids be comfortable enough to come back home and talk and share with them about everything, with the confidence that the parents will then onwards take care of the issue? Because often parents ask their kids to be quiet, or they create this, distance between the kids and themselves, that the kids are often not even comfortable in sharing their experiences with them. Can you talk about that?
yes, you are right. So just like I mentioned, that usually we say that talk to your parents and talk to your parents, but we were aware that even sometimes when you talk to your parents, uh, they uh, they don't support you. And because my team members, they mentioned that one of the girls mentioned that she tried to talk to her mother, that something is going on with her in her family, in her own family, and her mother refused to trust her, and she asked her to keep quiet. And this is not, and this attitude is not limited to societies that are of low socioeconomic status. These attitudes are prevalent in our society in every level of socioeconomic status. So that's why we encourage our children that first talk to your parents. If they are not listening to you, then you can talk to your friends, then you can talk to your, because teachers are the most valuable people in our lives. So we teach them different strategies, and then you can talk to the police department. We give them help desk numbers, and all we provide them all these information so that they can feel protected, and they can have a solution for this issue. Um, I think it is important that, and you know why parents um, they don't encourage their children, or they don't trust their children, is one of the reasons is that they are afraid of her child to be stigmatized. And then because the life of that child will be ruined forever, because if that child is a girl especially, so she would be asked not to go to office, she would be asked to stay at home and leave the school. So all the onus is on that child. So that's why I think most of the mothers, they prefer to stay quiet, and even they don't tell their fathers about these incidents. So I think it is very important that we should create awareness through social media, and that we should not stigmatize the child, and we should rather punish these culprits and these people who are abusers. And then parents are also afraid that it would result in enmity, and it would result in feuds, and it would result in litigation process, and they would lose their respect. They go to the police stations, and then they would ask questions that they would not be comfortable answering to, and all these things. So that's why these are some of the things that parents are afraid or they don't want to trust their child. So I think that what we should do is that we should create more awareness through social media about these issues, so that parents can start thinking about all this. And we should strengthen our institutions, especially our justice system, so that the conviction rate is high and people feel accountable if they do such kind of incidents.
That is correct. Denial is not the answer, justice is. Um, with that said, Dr. Bushra, how do you see the future?
I am very much optimistic about the future of our children. They are very intelligent, because I mostly deal with the children who are in public schools in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And you may know that most of the children in these government schools, they are from low socioeconomic status. They are the poorest of the poor. So even those people who can afford the fee of a private school, they would send their child to a private school, but they would not send them to public school. So public schools have children that are of very low socioeconomic status. And so it is very important that we should focus on such children, because they don't have parents, they don't have books in their homes, they don't have support in their immediate family, they are not educated families. So if through such awareness activities, what I have seen is that I have seen spark in their eyes, because they are so happy that at least someone is thinking about us. And you know, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there are girls schools for girls and boys schools for boys. And so male volunteers go to these male schools, and female master trainers, they go to these girl schools. And when they see these master trainers, and when they hear the stories of these trainers, so they think that, okay, I'm not the only one who has faced such an incident. And so this has happened with other people as well. So and if I had time, I would share the skits that they have created, and they have role played it in the school in that short period of time, and the charts that they have designed. You would be amazed that their drawings and their creative skills are far better than the children that are in elite private schools. So I can see a lot of bright future for these children. All that we need to do is that we need to have more awareness sessions on different topics, and we should have um, conversation with these children on regular basis, because I'm also doing another activity which is Kitab Dost. And in Kitab Dost, we connect them with the books, and the volunteers go to the schools once a week. And through storybooks, we teach them such kind of stories. And we read them stories, and they read stories to us, and then we teach them about environment and about politics and our countries and all these things, and they are so happy. So and they are very grateful. So I'm very optimistic for their future.
That is beautiful. And yes, I agree with you because our kids do have this gift of imagination among other gifts. And I really hope we as adults and we as a society and we as a country don't fail them, and instead create a community and a support system for them to just help them grow, because each of them deserve to grow and be successful and be happy and be safe in their own
Yes.
country and wherever they go. Needless to say, Dr. Bushra, you're doing an important work, a very important work for the country, for our generations to come. And you don't need me to say this, but I have to say this. And I'm very honored to be, talking to you today. And I wish you all the best with everything that you're doing and every project that you're going to be doing in the future as well. Thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Safia.